Welcome. Welcome to Good News from St. Andrew's, Guelph. I'm your host, the Reverend John Borthwick, and I'm delighted to be with you again this week. And what a week it's been. We've had a stay-at-home order for the province of Ontario, and many of us are just struggling to get through each and every day as we continue to navigate this global pandemic together. I want to take this time, this hour apart, just to rest and be a part of something different, to hear some different kinds of things and different kinds of news, the good news that we want to share with you today. So rest with us and have a moment to just be in a different space, in a different place, in a different time for this next hour. I want to give a shout out to some of our communities that we're reaching out into as a part of this show that we are putting together each and every week, especially Riverside Glen and the community at the Elliott and Arbor Trails. Of course, there are many other retirement residences and long-term care facilities across this great city of ours, but just wanted to reach out to them and give a shout out to the staff who are working tirelessly, and to all the residents. We're just grateful to be a part of your day, a part of your community in this special way. Want to, in the theme of Romper Room, I want to sort of shout out to Nan and Shirley, Maureen. I want to think about Ted and Mary and maybe Helen as well, and Shirley, also Dawn and Phyllis and Peggy, and just so many others who I miss. I miss not being able to be out there and connecting with you in the same way that we would have throughout this past year. So I hope you are well, that you're staying safe, and I'm so grateful for all the great care that you receive through the staff and the people that work at all those different spots. So we're grateful to you and thank you for all the great work you do. Today, as I begin the program, I just want to maybe give you a little sense about who I am. Who is this guy who's coming to you every single week and talking to you about this good news? Well, I've been a minister for about a quarter century. I've been at St. Andrew's in particular for 18 years. I always get confused with anniversaries. Is it the 18th anniversary or the 19th year? And apparently the answer is yes and yes. So I came here in January of 2023 and, 2003. Sorry, there's going to be mistakes sometimes. That's just who I am. I'm passionate about the community that I serve here, and to have the ability to reach out beyond this community, the walls of this congregation, and be involved, to come alongside people who are doing some great and amazing things for the sake of people in our community who maybe are marginalized, people who don't get to speak out as much as I get the privilege of doing so. I celebrate the good that happens in the city of Guelph each and every day. It's amazing to see all the good things that go on. I started out in West Toronto. I was a minister in Rexdale for a while, and over my years of serving, I've found myself in work that relates to the areas of trauma, conflict mediation. I do some coaching. I do some facilitating of workshops in these areas. More recently, I've been interested in the area of empathic strain, what used to be called compassion fatigue, and resilience. Part of the ways in which I've got involved in those areas and in that learning has been my volunteer role with Guelph Police Service that started about 6 years ago. I'm their volunteer chaplain and try to support the men and women who serve Guelph Police Service in a variety of ways throughout our community. And I've been privileged by that role. And privilege is really one of the things that speaks to who I am. I acknowledge that I have a great deal of privilege. As a white, cisgendered male, I'm well-resourced. I have a partner in my life. I've got 2 children who are older teenagers. But I try to use this privilege that I've been given, this voice that I've been given, and the spaces that I get to occupy. I've tried to be mindful and intentional about creating space for the voices of others. I try to use the privilege I have to try and be that voice for change in our community that might bring greater equity, greater justice, greater kindness in the world. Not only serving my own community, the congregation here at St. Andrew's, but well beyond its walls in the ways that I can. And so I just wanted to give you a little sense of who I am and where I'm coming from, And so you can get to know me a bit better as I get to know you through this opportunity of sharing this program with you each and every week. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to reach out to us, you can. There's the viewer response line from Rogers. You can reach out through our website. My email address is revjohn, REVJOHN, at standrewsguelph.com, and our website is www.standrewsguelph.com. Would love to hear from you. And if you have questions or wonderings, love to connect with you as we continue this journey of our show. So last week I talked a little bit about worship and what is worship. This thing we do each and every week is a worship service, and we share that as a major part of the episode that we produce each and every week. But when I talked about worship, I also mentioned that who we worship. We worship God. And I thought it might be interesting to share a little bit about what this God that we worship, what is all that about? For some of us, we don't really maybe connect with something like God or the big G God. There's been so many debates throughout the millennia, throughout all ages perhaps, about which God is more important. What God should I follow? Who should I apply my allegiance to? Those kinds of questions and debates have raged and sadly caused so much strife, so much tragedy, so much bloodshed, where people fought over, we worship this God and you worship that God, and we're going to be in conflict over that. It's interesting, the debates between Christians and the Islamic community over God. How many times in the Christian community have I heard, well, those people don't worship God, they worship something called Allah. And in my limited understanding, Allah simply is an Arabic word meaning God. It's the same kind of thing, and they believe in the one God, just like people in Judaism believe in the one God, and Christians believe in the one God, not multiple gods. But in other communities, in other walks of faith, people believe in multiple gods, different gods that are given different personalities or are worshipped for different reasons. But I think what all this boils down to is just expanding our view, thinking a little wider than just it's all about only my one way of thinking. So I think it's interesting, even within the Christian community, to think about the ways in which we have more than one just name of God. We happen to use the term God, big G God, when we talk about God in worship, but there's probably over 100 names for God in the Bible, or ways of describing God. Sometimes God is all-powerful, the Almighty. Sometimes God is like a rock, something to cling to when things are going hard in your life and you're going through difficult challenges. Sometimes God is like a shepherd, or God's described as having an eagle's wings to sort of embrace the people. Sometimes God is like a mother hen collecting in her little chicks. Sometimes God is Lord and a warrior. There's so many different names for God, so we shouldn't limit our understanding to just there is this God and this is it. We also, in the Christian tradition, use sort of a three-name way of understanding God. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Sometimes we change it up and say God Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Just, again, another way of capturing God. In Islam, as I understand it, there are 99 names for God, using things like the wise, the gentle, the ever-forgiving, the friend, and the light. So many names. I really like the expression that I've come to learn over the years of God of your understanding. It's really isn't all about what you call what it is you worship. It's more about what you're focusing on, what you're deciding or becoming aware of. Something that's beyond yourself is really the essence of it all. The idea that you're not the only thing in the universe. You're not the only one here. You're not alone, I guess, in one sense, but also that you're connected to all the beings that are around you, that are different from you, that are unique from you, that you are unique, you are specially made, but there are others as well, just as unique and just as special. And so For a lot of folks, they talk more about spirituality than religion. And I love Brene Brown's definition of spirituality. She says, it's a deeply held belief that we are inextricably connected to each other by something greater than us. I think that's a really powerful way of understanding it. And in the recovery movement, the 12 steps, they talk about this idea that there's a power beyond ourselves. And it helps, I think, those who are going through tough times, those who are feeling alone in the world, are feeling like they can only do so much. They've done so much, but they're tapped out and their energy is gone and they just don't have any more. To know that you might be able to tap into something beyond yourself, that it's not all about me in particular. I don't need to do it all on my own. It doesn't all depend on me is something powerful to lean into sometimes. And really, that's the essence of what worship becomes the focus of. Our curiosity brings us into this worship experience, a desire to learn more about this power beyond ourselves, one we might call God, and learn how we fit into all this universe. Perhaps to take fully into our beings the good news that we spoke about last week, where that we are a part of this bigger thing. We are God's child. We are loved. And we are not only loved, but we bring happiness to the one that is greater than ourselves. And it's a non-judgmental kind of thing. It's a love that is that truly unconditional love. As human beings, we're limited. It's hard for us. It's hard for us to not have conditions or to not find ways in which we are limited in our ability to love another person. But God, this bigger than ourselves thing, the divine, has a capacity to love beyond any human capacity. To coin a phrase or to talk a phrase, it's really God takes it up to 11. So if our love can get all the way to 10, God just takes it that one notch further. And God finds happiness in us, in you and in me. And that is good news. So today, it's a recording from Sunday, January the 17th for 2021. And in worship, we're going to look at another story from another gospel writer. This time, the gospel writer's name is John. That's a really good name. And along with Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John is one of these four witnesses, one of these four preachers about the good news of Jesus the Christ. And today's reading is from John chapter 1, verses 43 to 51. Someone who has met this Jesus invites a friend to meet him too. And it proves to be a transformative experience. I hope you'll join us and continue in watching the program and learning a bit more about this encounter. We'd love for you to invite your friends to see the good news that St. Andrew's in Guelph is up to each and every week on Rogers TV 20. You can also find us on YouTube at our YouTube channel and on our website, as I mentioned previously. Thanks for joining us today for Good News from St. Andrew's, Guelph.